Hello, welcome to March 27th, 2023. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation video. Making this video is an exercise that I do each and every morning, just a little bit after waking up. It's now 4:35 a.m. I do this in order to remember my life objectives as they are outlined in my book, Going Alone. Collectively, these are called the Good Life Creed. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours and to mull over the challenges and the opportunities that I encountered and to see how I did with those and if there's ways that I could have done better. I conclude by thinking about the coming day and to take a look ahead at any challenges or opportunities that I might encounter and how I can do better with those, how I can plan to do better with those, to utilize my principles to achieve my objectives and the end of a good life, realized every day. All right, let's begin. First, last night and yesterday. Slept pretty good. Feeling a little out of sorts still. Better than yesterday for sure. Might be allergies, compounded on top of the effects of COVID. But yesterday was a fairly good day. I took some allergy medicine in the morning, and that definitely cleared up some stuff, but I still felt a little out of sorts all day. Nevertheless, I got all my tasks done. I said I was just going to sit and read all day, and I did a lot of reading. I sat here and I sat outside, and I sat in the living room, and I just read and read and read. The best reading was out in the sunlight on the patio. That was nice, just sitting in my little chair that I brought back from the desert. Finished all the objectives yesterday. I even added a new sub-principle to the good life, something called playing in the sand, which goes below distraction. Added in, propagated out. It should be out under the printed version now soon. Had a good day. I wouldn't call it necessarily an easy day or necessarily even a peaceful day. There were worries and frets. Always worries and frets. All right, let's do the good life. And I'm feeling well enough, I think I can try the full edition. Let's give this a try. My 7 objectives are as follows. Let's see if I can remember all the sub-principles. It's been a minute. 1, to be always ready to die. To have my life affairs, including my connections with others, my relationships, my life, wow, I'm really out of practice. What is it that I need to have in order? My life's affairs, my relationships, and my life's work. That's right. In order. So that if I die, I don't leave anything undone or unsettled. Not that that really matters. Number 2 is to develop and maintain to make good and effective use of my time, to not waste my days, to eke out good activity of every moment, which at this point really just means fulfilling my duty and reading. Number 3 is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. That means I need to be tinkering with the Good Life Creed, these 7 and 34, and all their associated sub-principles. And I do that every day by making this video and thinking about them throughout the day as I have the need to use them. Number 4 is to cultivate good emotional reactions, to become someone who reacts well to the circumstances of life and doesn't fly off the handle. I had a couple times this weekend where I did that, where emotion kind of rose in me and I pushed it down, I held it at bay, and I remained my stable, sober self, which is the goal. Next is to cultivate good to perform good actions. This is number 5. Just do good things throughout the day to find ways to make the world better. Next is to recognize my true limits and my true opportunities so that I'm not reaching or asking more of life than I can fulfill. Being reasonable about my expectations and ambitions. And then finally, to do just one thing at a time, and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. Never to multitask. All right, those are my objectives. Now my 34 principles with their associated sub-principles are as follows. Number 1 is war. To always be fighting against any proposition of truth that I encounter or that that emerges out of me. I want to fight them and press them and make sure they're true. 2 is the principle of reason. To be a reasonable, logical human being who looks at things objectively and is honest with myself and others. The sub-principles, which I kind of give away already, are honesty, objectivity, doubt, and humiliation. I want to be honest with myself and others, objective in my worldview, a fierce skeptic, and willing to accept the humiliation of discovering, welcome it even, of discovering that I'm wrong. Next is the homunculus. I don't believe I have a soul, or that any of us do. But I do know, it seems, that I have a consciousness, this thing that I'm using to operate in the world right now. And I focus on that. And namely, I focus on the fact that it's connected to my body and will die with my body. And that's the next principle, the anchor hold. The suggestion that my consciousness is trapped within my cranium here and connected and supported by the rest of my body, and then by extension the society that I live in, and that when this mortal coil is finished, the consciousness will wink out like a candle stopping or the music coming to a halt. Next is the home of good and evil. Right and wrong do not seem to pervade the universe on their own. They appear to be opinions that we maintain, develop, share. And as such, they're highly subjective. Right and wrong, good and evil are our choices and our decisions, our deliberate positions, which is a very dangerous thing when you think about it, because it requires a lot of hard work to make sure that they're true. Or not true in any objective sense, but worth holding and pursuing. Then comes the principle of nature. The atomic principle. Everything is made of bits and pieces, flowing and changing and forever transforming. And then the principle of nature. Everything and everyone has some particular nature, and it's good to recognize what that is so that we can abide that and live our lives in accord with, or at least understanding, how things are and how people are, and how to expect them to be and behave. Next comes the pirate ride. Free will is a quite convincing illusion, but an illusion nonetheless. I don't think we're free. I think we're bound and caught up in the universe at large, which its machinations press and push us out on all sides, and in their inadvertent way direct our actions mindlessly, like a leaf tossed in a storm. Next comes maturity and the sub-principles of wisdom, fortitude, and... Do I need the book? I need the book. All of these principles and objectives are here listed in my book, Going Alone. Sub-principles are wisdom, fortitude, and integrity. Well, actually, in fact, there's a couple more. This is an old book. No, that's it for those, right? wisdom, fortitude, and integrity. I think. There's another one where I've got more. Sounds similar. Maturity is that state that we can arrive at if we are wise in remembering our past successes and failures, have fortitude, strength to do better, and can then enjoy the integrity of our life well lived. Yeah, that's it. It's just those three. Of our life, integrity is not just our life well lived, it's our life lived in accordance with our values. Yeah, with our wisdom. Our values and our actions are in alignment. That's what it is. That's the result of becoming and living with maturity. Becoming a mature person and living your life in accordance with that. Next is the social principle, and the sub-principles of diplomacy, justice, and conspiracy. We are social creatures. We need each other. And our best ends are social ends. As such, we should use diplomacy to work together to hammer out an agreement, if not to resolve our differences, at least to hammer out an agreement. And then we can use that to pursue justice for the community at large. And then we can link arms when we understand the aim and the rules by which we are going to apply. Then we can link arms and conspire to make that true, which is the greater effort of being alive. Next comes the principle of family, and the sub-principle of what? Catalyst, that's right. Family is a good thing to have because it gives us a reason to be. And then the necessities of family catalyze our actions into motion when we do the hard things. Next is public speaking, and this has a number of sub-principles. Public speaking simply reminds us to communicate well, to listen and communicate well. The sub-principles here are, I can't remember, best words, to select the best words that are most apt words to convey our meaning, not impressive words necessarily, but apt words that can be well understood and readily communicate our meaning. Prudence, the ability to align our communication with our values. Felicity, the ability to flavor our communication with emotion in just right seasoned amount. Eloquence, the skill and practice of speaking well. Literature, the enjoyment of literature to give our communication context and beauty. And then two negatives, rumor and gossip, things to avoid. Next is temperance, the ability to control our consumption of things. And the sub-principles here are suffering, because we suffer when we tell ourselves no. Simplicity, because a simple life is a temperate life. And apathy, the ability to disconnect from the things that are beyond our reach. There you go. The next one is, after temperance, then comes life will not go well, and it won't. Life's going to have speed bumps all throughout the way. The best horror show, that's the next principle. Sometimes those speed bumps will be of horrifying consequence and context. Just terrible. And then after that comes that which must be born, carried, born, carried, born with an E. And we have to bear the horror show and the fact that life will not go well. And then the feast of offal, which is the waste and byproduct of our intemperate living that we can spew onto others, but I prefer to keep it inside and to let it digest away. Next comes, is it distraction? Oh, I did that. Yeah, the distraction, that's the next one. This principle suggests that we spend our lives distracting ourselves with all the things that keep us busy. I consider it to be like playing in the sand, where we're digging to create sandcastles, which themselves are made of sand, useless, worthless in the end, in an absolute sense. Digging holes, seeking for treasure, where we'll simply find more sand. That's how we spend our lives. And we need to, because we need to orchestrate the energy and motion to cultivate the raising of children who will replace us and keep the game in the sand going. Next comes, after that, agency and the great indifference. Agency and the great indifference suggests that without a soul and with no God, we are in a universe that is devoid of oversight. We're on our own. And that's a scary thought, because it lays all the responsibility for the well-lived life on our own shoulders. And our mortality means that we won't get a second chance. Next comes the best seat in the house. To not want to be anyone else or be anywhere else or be doing anything else, but to be okay with who I am and where I am and what I'm doing right here, right now, right who. Next comes the restless man. For some of us, many of us at youth, we get this restlessness for some sort of a life that we want to live. Some of us get it earlier than others. I know someone who got it very young. That's the restlessness. And if we don't abide that, there are consequences to pay. If we do abide it, then we step upon the path of wildness, which is the segue point from one life to another. And we pursue a great life adventure, which is the story that we gain and develop and becomes our own. The risk of avoiding risk speaks to the consequence of not heeding that restlessness at a young age, but ignoring it. It also speaks to the risk of going too far the other direction and being overly secure. There are risks on both sides. Sin and damnation is next. There are 7 sins in my worldview, mostly related to being untrue or believing things that are untrue. And these are falsity, being untrue, credulity, too readily believing things, faith, believing things founded upon the belief, where the belief is founded upon the belief itself. Superstition, a category of nonsense. Dogma, belief based on tradition. Authority, belief based on being impressed by the eloquence, the speech, the appearance of someone in authority or some institution in authority. And then rumor and gossip, which are just nasty things to do. The consequence of engaging in any of these is damnation in the here and now. Complete oblivion is next. After we're dead, that's the end of us. There'll be no final reunion with the ones we love, no final reconciliation, because we'll never see them again. And then no final justice, because there is no justice giver and no place of justice after life. The great next comes the principle of, let me double check. I think it's the principle of script writing. Is it not? Is it next computer vision? Oh, the season of philosophy. I knew I was forgetting something. That's a reminder that a point may come in our lives where words may start to form and come at us. We should record those down and do our best to make something of those, because we only get, they're fleeting and they pass. Then comes script writing, the process that we can use to forecast the moments, the hours, the days ahead, and plan out how we're going to react and live them. The bullseye aim is a reminder that we strive for the mark we usually miss. And to focus on that instead of hitting the mark, we should be satisfied that we hit the board at all in our pursuit of goals, and be delighted when we hit the mark, but accepting of the reality that normally we won't. None of us are that good. The uphill climb, climbing up and higher in life towards a better view by the end of the day. Arena and utility. Life is an arena for the development of good objectives and principles that we can use throughout the day, every day. Nothing is enough. A base and simple reminder toward simplicity. And then finally, the principle of fun. A reminder to try to have a good time throughout each day. And also to remember the good times of yesterday and to plan for the good days to come. I made it through. That's the Good Life Creed. Now let's forecast the day. It's going to be a long week. It'll be a good week. I'll get a lot done. I've got a big challenge to undertake this week. So I'll finish this. I'll upload this video, type out my words, read my Bible, starting the book of Habakkuk, and then I will feed the dogs, let them out. I think I'll skip my own meal. I'll wait until lunchtime. Intermittent fasting again. Lose a little weight. And then start my day in earnest. Maybe I'll sit and read for a little bit and then start my day in earnest. I wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe. And with that, my life is done, if not finished. See you.